Women are emerging as primary home loan applicants in many instances because they somehow seem to be earning a higher household income. While statistics have shown that the number of women purchasing properties on their own are increasing at a faster rate than men. So now more single women own properties than single men. Figures show that around 27% of property owners in 2009 were single women, compared to 26 that were single men. And just a few years ago, those figures were in reverse, with women being at 18% and men being at 20%. Well, the property ownership landscape is changing. Women are leading and becoming at the forefront. And today on the show, we're talking about how you can increase your chances of bond approval and the various things that you need to consider when applying for a property loan.
Welcome to the Wealth Nation podcast, a podcast for every mother, daughter, grandmother, sister, and wife, and the men who are smart enough to tune in. The Wealth Nation podcast brings you all you need to know about investments, business, property investments, personal finance, and all-around financial wellness. Here is your host, Yolanda Rose.
Thanks for joining me today on another episode of the Wealth Nation podcast. I am Yolanda, financial advisor and wealth coach. And every week on this podcast, I aim to give you all the tips, strategies, and content you need to build generational wealth and manage your money well. Thanks for choosing this podcast. If you missed any episodes, remember the nice thing about podcasts are they're not like radio where once a broadcaster broadcasts the info, it's gone. Whereas with podcasts, there's always a record. And we started last year. All of those episodes are available for you on iTunes or whatever your designated podcasting app is. So go and check that out. The Wealth Nation podcast is sponsored by Audible. Audible is a seller and producer of spoken audio entertainment, information, and educational programming on the internet. Audible sells digital audiobooks, radio and TV programs, and audio versions of magazines and newspapers. For a 30-day free trial of Audible, go to www.financiallyfabulousfemales.com/audible. Well, for generations, women have struggled with the right with property ownership. And we see in KZN, in the tribal lands already, they are still struggling. And especially with the various customary laws, black women have been at a disadvantage. It was only in 2008 that the Constitutional Court recognized the rights of all women to own land and ruled that a section of the Upgrading of Land Tenure Rights Act. Now, this was an apartheid era law that only recognized men as heads of family and legal landowners, and this was unconstitutional. So I feel for those women that are struggling in the Zulu tribal lands in KZN, where they are not given the right to title by those in power in those tribal lands. And we can see the statistics are showing us that women want to own property. They realize the value and the wealth that property can bring, and the leveraging mechanisms of wealth as well. So today on the show, we're talking about how you can increase your chances of getting a home loan and the things that you need to consider.
Raising financially savvy children involves teaching them a variety of skills, from budgeting to planning to earning and saving. Besides giving them an understanding of the value of a rand, it prepares them for real-world finances. Financial literacy is a vital skill, and it is never too early to teach your kids about money. Many parents wonder how they can teach their kids about money and where to find age-appropriate resources. You can now purchase the Financial Literacy for Kids workbook, which is aimed at primary school kids. It's now available at www.financiallyfabulousfemales.com. This workbook provides you with 12 lessons, activities, lesson plans, discussion points, and quizzes that you can use to test your kids' knowledge. Shop now at www.financiallyfabulousfemales.com.
Like what you hear so far? Make sure you never miss a show by subscribing on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Tuned In. Now back to the show.
Well, I'm specifically talking about this today because as a financial advisor, as a wealth coach, I have expanded my services to now offer you the opportunity of helping you with your bond. I'm talking about complete bond origination services here. As of today, that's what I do. an additional service to my regular financial advisory service. So if you are looking at property over the value of 2 million rand, so whether the property is at 2 million or more, your bond amount could be less than that. But if the property is valued at 2 million or more, I would like to help you set up your bond. It's a quick and easy service. Instead of you shopping around for the best rates, we will give you the best rates with the best banks as well. And the nice thing about my service compared to the other leading services is that we are affiliated with a major company who will negotiate with the banks on your behalf. And you have the added benefit, tons of added benefits of having cash back paid into your bond or an upfront property starter money available as well. So if you want to hear more about that, go to our website and log on and check out all of the details of my bond origination service. And one of the things that you should be doing is to check out your affordability. And I tend to do this regularly, where I go to one of the property websites and I check out how much I can afford, especially with interest rates. That's dependent on how much money you put down, what my debt commitments are. So as my financial position changes, I have more discretionary income. I'm paying down a lot more debt. I qualify for a higher loan as my salary increases as well. I qualify for a higher home loan, considering the property that I am going to buy. So check out your affordability before you can start looking at property. You also have to have a good knowledge of your credit record. I recommend a tool called clearscore.com. All of your details are in there. Every month they'll give you a little credit history, how you're going, how your payments are going. And once a year, every South African is entitled to one free credit report. And you can do this on Experian, on TransUnion, or on ClearScore as well, where you can get your annual credit report for free. And that will tell you your standing with the banks and how likely you are to get a home loan based on your repayment behavior. A major factor when it comes to the granting of home loans is your short-term debt and even credit card debt. So if you have 3 credit cards, each with a limit of 150,000, the bank would look at these accounts collectively as a potential 450,000 rand debt, even if the money is still sitting in your account. Now, to satisfy the affordability ratios required by the bank, ensure that you have as minimum debt as possible. You should also look to secure the best interest rate. Right now, interest rates are super low. Property purchasing is increasing, and the pendulum is swinging from the seller's market to a buyer's market now, because a lot more people are entering the property industry as it's become more affordable to get a home loan. So I want you to shop around. I want to help you shop around for the best interest rates. So go to my website and let me help you with your bond application. I will come to you, or even one of my colleagues. You know, I work all around the country. I will get a colleague in whichever corner of South Africa you're at to come out to see you and to handhold you through this entire property purchase that you have endeavored in. Another consideration when it comes to the bond application process is putting down a larger deposit. Now, although the South African banks are happily giving away 100% home loans at this point, it does work in your favor when you have down a higher deposit. And it just increases your chances of securing that home loan. Some banks right now are not requiring a deposit, but a good enough or a large enough deposit will put you in good standing with the banks. Not only will they view you as a lower risk, but a large deposit will also reduce your interest rates, and this will save you hundreds, thousands of rands down the line. Also consider the term of your bond. In South Africa, the 20-year bond term is very popular, but a lot of institutions are offering the 30-year bond term. Well, there is that upside that you have a lower monthly premiums over the 30-year period, which gives you a lot more freedom, a lot more liquid cash to focus on other investment areas, or even renovate your property, or even go for that second, third, or fourth property. But the downside means that by the end of that 30-year term, you would have paid a lot more interest on that one property. So every bond application is unique, and is assessed on its own merits. And taking the time to understand what banks are considering when assessing an application will go a long way in helping you purchase that dream home. I want to help you secure that property loan for properties over 2 million. So I want you to give me a call. My number is 084-516-2270. I will get somebody to come to you and sit with you and handhold you through this entire process for a comprehensive service, very unique in South Africa. All over the country, my services are available. So mail me. It's Yolanda at financiallyfabulousfemales.com, or give me a call. It's 084-516-2270. So I hope this episode helped you get your thoughts in order before you apply for that bond. And I'd love to see a lot more South African property owners, female property owners out there leading the way. All right, so that's it for me on this episode of the Wealth Nation podcast. I'll chat to you next week.
Thanks for tuning in. Make sure to visit our website at www.financiallyfabulousfemales.com and sign up for our free investment masterclass.